What is up everybody, how is it going? Welcome back to my channel, welcome back to World of Tanks. Today, as promised yesterday, here is another news episode for you. Let's take a bit deeper look at wheeled vehicles, aka armored cars in World of Tanks. A couple days ago, Wargaming released another Developer Diaries episode where they explained a lot more what exactly are those armored cars in this game, what are their ideas, plans for the future, and what are the special features and so on. And let me tell you guys, that Developer Diaries episode really got me hyped up because those wheeled vehicles, aka armored cars, they have many special features that we didn't have in this game before. So together with some actual in-development gameplay action on the background with one of those armored cars called Panhard, I think this is the way to pronounce it, not Panhard EBR but Panhard EBR. Or correct me if I am wrong in the comments down below. Anyway, together with some actual gameplay footage from the Developer Diaries episodes and with my D100 LT battle on the background, that was actually quite crazy, let's jump right into the action. And what do you say if we start with a little history lesson? They said that they had their first ideas about the wheeled vehicles, armored cars in this game even in 2010 and early 2011. But the first time we saw them in action was in 2016 when we were celebrating 100 years of tanking. Maybe some of you still remembers that we were able to play with the wheeled Lanchester armored cars. This is how they called them. If you do not remember, I am going to add some clippage on the background as well for you. And this event was also first big testing for wheeled vehicles in this game. Community really liked it, I enjoyed it as well because it was something completely different. And this kinda gave them confirmation and green light, so they further improved their prototypes and they started working on wheeled vehicles. Time flies and now we are over here. First armored cars with wheels on them are going to be tested. And as far as I know, they are going to be from France. But why from France? Let's have another history lesson, this time by Wargaming.
The French didn't suddenly start making full-blown armored cars. They started with small things, like putting machine guns onto common cars. In the 1930s, light armored cars appeared, able to reach speeds of 70 kilometers per hour and above. The Panhard 178 is an example of these. Its various modifications were in service until the 1960s. In the late 1940s, a star was born, the 8-wheeled Panhard EBR. Its forward and rear wheels had bulletproof rubber tires. The 4 middle wheels were made of steel and had cleats for better traction. They could be lifted up on a paved road and put down on the ground on hard terrain. There were several models of the Panhard EBR. The most well-known of them sported the oscillating turret of the AMX-13 tank. Over the course of 20 years, some 1,200 of these armored cars were made. They traveled beyond France, far and wide. The armed forces of Indonesia and Mauritania still employ them.
The more you know, and I really like the fact that those vehicles actually existed, so it gives me a bit better feel on the battlefield, if you know what I mean. But now let's talk about those armored wheeled cars. What exactly are they? What is the matchmaking going to be like? What is the gameplay going to be like? What are those special features I talked about at the start of the episode that we have never seen before? So let's start with the gameplay features. Wargaming is not going to make a new vehicle class for wheeled vehicles. They are going to be classified as a light tanks. And they also come with special on-the-move camo bonus, which means that you have exactly the same camo while stationary all while you are moving. This is what lets all the light tanks to do some active scouting. They can stay hidden while spotting all the enemy vehicles. And the matchmaking also treats them as light tanks because they put light tanks and wheeled vehicles together into the same matchmaking pool. Next up, let's talk about how they play or what are the main gameplay differences between wheeled vehicles and light tanks. Well, the first and the most obvious difference is that it doesn't have tracks. It has wheels. So if you want to turn your vehicle, you actually have to move, either forward or backwards. You are not able to do 360 turns while you are standing still, as you were able to do with every other vehicle in this game. It is quite ridiculous. I would say we have close to 600 or 500 to 600 vehicles in this game, and every single one of them have tracks, and now no tracks. So most definitely it takes some time to get used to, but it shouldn't be too hard. I enjoyed wheeled vehicles in Armored Warfare. I enjoyed armored fighting vehicles. It was actually my favorite class in Armored Warfare. Anyway, it doesn't have tracks, it has wheels, okay. But it also plays differently. Yes, it is fast. Yes, it is tiny, like almost any other light tank in this game. But I would say wheeled vehicles or armored cars' main role is active scouting. You always have to stay on the move. I know it is impossible to do on city maps, but on open maps like on Fisherman's Bay, on Karelia, we have actually so many open maps and really good maps for scouting. The best maps of course are Malinovka, Prokhorovka, maps like that. You always have to stay moving because the speed is your biggest ally. I think view range is not going to be as good as on other light tanks, because light tanks, they need to be a bit better at something at least. They are going to lose with the mobility, maybe camo is going to be the same, so I would say that the light tanks are going to be a bit better at passive scouting because of better view range. They are a bit better at sitting in the bush with the same camo value, but wheeled vehicles, they are crazy fast with the same camo, but a bit weaker view range, so they have to be in action, they have to drive around, they have to be a bit closer. And the main key feature that many people seem to forget that you can actually do with light tanks as well, but I would say you can do it better in wheeled vehicles, that you can be annoying. This should be in the game as well actually. Perk or pro? Annoying. This vehicle is annoying. Just think about that, guys. On open maps, when you reveal yourself, you can actually get yourself spotted. Let's say you want to get spotted. And when you got spotted, people usually cannot help themselves. So when they hear or when they saw that something got spotted, they usually like to stop and start aiming at you. But what you are doing is you are wasting valuable seconds. Maybe thanks to your play, your teammates, your heavy tanks were able to get into their first positions without receiving any damage whatsoever. Maybe they are in their position and now they are able to deal damage to the enemy tanks. You never know what helps in this game. All the hidden dirty work actually wins the battles, especially when you are playing with light tanks and wheeled vehicles in the future. So just think about that. But talking about the mobility, this vehicle has two modes, two new modes that we have not seen in this game before. Drive mode and default mode. Like on its real prototype, it has retractable wheels in the middle of the vehicle that can be lowered when needed. In drive mode, you are able to travel with, guys. Do you know how fast? You are able to travel with over 100 kilometers per hour top speed. But handling is not as good. On open ground, it has the best acceleration and speed compared to any light tank in this game. Nothing can keep up with Panhard. In default mode, it handles like a light tank and can reach speed up to 70 km per hour. This mode is for city maps, for rough terrains, and of course for circling enemy vehicles to death, so use it wisely. And you can switch between modes like in the Swedish TDs. You simply have to press X, and the really cool feature is that you are able to switch between modes while you are stationary or while you are driving, so it doesn't matter. If you see that you have to cover a lot of distance, just go into the drive mode and you can speed up to over 100 km per hour, which is just, this is going to be ridiculous to see from your zoomed in scope while you are playing with a tank destroyer, for example. Try to hit a vehicle that is going over 100 km per hour in this game. This is crazy. So switching between modes is easy. You can cover a lot of distance fast, and when you can see lonely enemy heavy tank, for example, or a medium tank with this traverse speed, I would say you are able to circle medium tanks to death as well. You can switch between modes and boom, 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 enemy heavy tank is boom. Like that. Now, suspension as chassis is a bit different compared to any other vehicle in this game. Harder to overturn, plus less damage from big jumps and from landing. So maybe those soapy rocks are not going to kill you that easily anymore. It depends on how you land. If you land on your wheels, your frontal wheels, your back wheels, you are not going to take that much damage. Well, it is kind of understandable as well, because wheels, rubber, they act a bit differently than tracks, metal tracks. But can you track them? Can you so-called track them or immobilize those vehicles? Well, you can certainly slow them down. With each hit into the wheels, or with every wheel taken out, take it slower and slower and slower, verse maneuvering and so on. So one shot from Type 5 Stirp or from 183 and your work is done. And you can actually immobilize those vehicles as well by destroying more than half of their wheels or destroying the engine. So wear a repair kit while you're playing with wheeled vehicles, because mobility is the only thing that saves you. And another thing, I do not know that exactly, but I would think so, that they get even less HP than light tanks, like 100, maybe 150 less HP than the same tier light tank. This is just my guess. Next up, let's talk about two completely new features exclusive to wheeled vehicles only. First new feature is called Charge, or I would like to call it as a launch control, because if you hold down your W key and your handbrake space, you can charge up your vehicle for faster acceleration. So it is working exactly like a launch control, but they are still working on it. They do not know exactly how it is going to be, whether it should have a cooldown, limited number of charges over one battle, overheating, or should it be a consumable after all. We'll see what they're going to do. And the second new feature is interesting. It is so-called AutoAim Assist, that many of you guys think is illegal. But this feature is coming for wheeled vehicles into this game by developers. Take that. Auto-aiming is hard, they say, especially for super fast vehicles on bumpy roads. Well, they're not wrong over here. It sometimes can be super frustrating. So a little help from the game is needed, and this is their solution. Auto-aim Assist. And how it works is you do not have to click right on the top of the outline, but you can click close to the vehicle and it snaps on the nearest target, as far as I understand. So Auto-aim Assist. And ladies and gentlemen, wheeled vehicles are coming to World of Tanks. I am really hyped. I cannot hide it, because I love light tanks. This is the main reason. I love light tanks, and I know how much I loved them in Armored Warfare. So I am hyped. I cannot wait for them. And yes, maps, I can say we have so many maps that are not really good for wheeled tanks, for armored cars, but who cares? New content, love it. I'm content freak, I'm content junkie, so I take everything. Okay, not everything, I take new stuff. I like to test it out. Let me know what you think about those wheeled tanks after watching today's episode, or after watching Developer Diaries episode, in the comments down below. And guys, thank you so much for tuning in, almost daily. Thank you for watching my videos, much appreciated. Love you all, stay care, and bye.